You know, the art of gold plating has reached a new diabolical height. On the surface, it's a game of precious metals, but at its core, it's a precision-engineered harvesting machine running on pure human greed. So tell me, when you find yourself snagging a solid gold bracelet for less than the price of pork at the supermarket, have you ever stopped to wonder who's the real lamb being led to the slaughter in this gilded game? Let's dive into a story today that is more surreal than the microscopic flecks of beef they put in instant noodles. Picture this. You're in a live stream, your heart is pounding. You win the auction for a bracelet stamped 999 pure gold. You wear it for 3 glorious days, and then you notice your wrist is turning a concerning shade of black. You grab a magnifying glass, you lean in close, and what in the world? This isn't gold. This is a silver bracelet wearing a golden suit of armor, cosplaying as a precious metal. This whole saga really kicked off last year. The international price of gold shot up like one of Elon Musk's rockets, smashing through the $780 per gram barrier. It was so terrifying. A friend of mine who was about to get married literally snapped his jewelry store membership card in half and started seriously researching stainless steel wedding rings. But human ingenuity is a wondrous thing, isn't it? Almost overnight, the market was flooded with these miraculous items called Gold-Clad Silver. The price? A mere tenth of solid gold. In the live streams, the hosts would blast them with butane torches to prove their authenticity, and the comment sections would just explode. This is way better than those big-name luxury brands. But can you really trust it? Let's look at some data. China's National Jewelry Quality Inspection Center ran a surprise raid late last year. They took 17 samples of gold-clad silver and gave them a nice little bath in Aqua Regia, a powerful acid that dissolves gold. The result? 14 of them revealed their true selves on the spot. A piece advertised having 0.96 grams of gold actually contained 0.19 grams. That's a shrinkage rate that rivals my bank account between payday and the end of the month. But the most audacious trick? Some vendors were plating a layer of gold thinner than cling wrap onto a silver bracelet and brazenly labeling it solid gold-clad silver. I mean, that's a level of deception more bizarre than finding out your organic health tea has been spiked with amphetamines. Now, technically, gold-clad silver refers to a silver base covered by a thin layer of gold. It looks identical to solid gold. But in reality, the term itself isn't even recognized by official industry standards. It's just a folksy, marketable name cooked up by sellers. I have a buddy who works in jewelry authentication. He says testing this stuff now is harder than trying to find a specific sesame seed in a pot of boiling hot pot. Standard tests only check the surface. To find out the real gold content, you have to dismember the jewelry and use chemical agents to separate the metals. And what consumer is willing to dissolve their brand new bracelet in a vat of sulfuric acid? This right here is the loophole that lets sellers play these word games with a straight face. You see 999 pure gold craftsmanship in the live stream, but what you receive is more like 999 grade snake oil craftsmanship. And the sales tactics are just sublime. You've got the host waving a certificate of authenticity, swearing on their mother's grave, this is a triple-layer gold cladding process. It won't fade for 10 years. Then you message customer service to ask about care instructions, and they reply, oh honey, please remember to take it off when you shower. Excuse me? If this were real gold, you could go deep sea diving with it, let alone take a shower. That's like a sunscreen company saying, our product is 100% waterproof and sweatproof, but we recommend you reapply every 30 minutes. If you happen to be an enthusiast of long, hot baths, you might as well pull up a chair with the gold chain-wearing uncles whose bling also floats. And don't even get me started on the investment value. Down at the Shenzhen gold recycling markets, the bosses look at a piece of gold-clad silver with more disgust than if they had just run into their ex. Onlookers are regularly treated to scenes like this. An old man brings in a 30-gram gold bracelet to sell. The boss hits it with a blowtorch, and poof, a little silver spirit emerges from the flames. It's all silver. The jewelry he bought for over 2,000 yuan is worth 300. The grandpa was so furious, he performed an impromptu street dance routine that looked like a cross between a nervous breakdown and a martial arts tutorial. And you have to hand it to the sheer audacity of some sellers. Last year, the Shenzhen Market Authority issued a document demanding that all gold-plated silver must be labeled gold-plated. No more of this ambiguous gold-clad nonsense. So what happened? Some genius vendors started printing labels that said, "This product uses a traditional gold cladding process, electroplating." It's a word game so twisted, it would make Shakespeare himself write a sonnet about corporate deception. For consumers, trying to get justice against these unscrupulous sellers is an uphill battle of epic proportions. A woman in Beijing spent 888 yuan on a gold-clad silver necklace. After 2 weeks, it started to tarnish. The seller claimed it was a magical chemical reaction between her body sweat and the precious metal. Infuriated, she sent it for testing. The result? The gold layer was less than 0.5 microns thick. That's thinner than the paint on her apartment's security door. And by the time she got the report and went back to the online platform, the shop had already rebranded and was now selling silver-clad gold. At this point, you might be asking, so should I ever buy this stuff? My advice is this. If you need something flashy to wear to your ex's wedding just to make a statement, go for it. But be warned, the shelf life of this jewelry is probably shorter than a carton of yogurt that expired before it even left the factory. But if you're thinking of it as a family heirloom, please just buy a solid gold bar. Trust me, you don't want your great-grandson opening the family safe 100 years from now, pulling out a blackened, corroded bracelet, and concluding that his ancestor was either a world-class cheapskate or the biggest sucker of the 21st century. And here's a fun fact to leave you with. Some of these gold-clad silver sellers are now pivoting to gold-clad copper. The price is slashed in half again. At this rate, I fully expect to see gold-clad iron by next year. I've even thought of a slogan for them. Experience the luxurious texture of gold with the reassuring, hefty feel of high-end electrical wiring. In this bizarre era of consumerism, please remember one eternal truth. If you find something that seems too cheap to be true, it is almost certainly not true. Pennies don't fall from heaven, but gold-plated iron anvils might, and that's gonna hurt when it lands. It makes a modern poet want to lament. The live stream glows, a tempting golden gleam, a click, a buy, a fever dream. Real gold fears no fire, the seller cried. You cut it open, see the truth inside. A silver heart in paper-thin gold dressed, the seller's logic fails the simplest test. The scammed are weeping, watching their money burn, 1,000 spent, 100 in return. You ask for justice, for the wrong to cease? The shop is gone, the sign replaced, no peace. And that's all for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.